if no one's gonna spend the day with me, I'm just gonna take myself to Disneyland.
I will lose it if you mess with my Coolers Ranch.
And here's when I lost it.
Okay. Is anybody home? Hello, housekeeping.
I'm a real maverick, okay?
This is my podcast. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the manic world of Jaci Terj. That's me. I'm Jaci Terjeson. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm a writer, actor, director. One time I was a personal assistant. I've also worked in a chip factory. What haven't I done? I think not all of those were true. But I'm so happy that you're listening to my podcast. We talk on this podcast about people losing it, going cuckoo bananas, because why wouldn't we? Those times are crazy, and we got to talk about them. And they're funny. They're so funny. So today I have a very special guest on, a Seattle darling, if you will. She was a comedic, an undisputable genius of comedy in Seattle. She was named one of Seattle's best comedians and just one of my favorite comedians in general and one of my favorite people. Give it up for the very hilarious Juno Men.
There's not a... Do I clap? I'm going to clap.
Yeah, you got to clap for
I'm
yourself
clapping.
here.
Well, that feels weird.
We're a DIY kind of
I love
group
it.
here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of picked up on that. Off camera,
Yeah.
Boxes everywhere, T-shirts,
jewels.
piles of T-shirts and hats
And
jewels.
trinkets
Yes,
and artifacts.
it feels like we're in the tiger's mouth in the first Aladdin movie, where
Yes.
like we've wandered down
What is that called?
the forbidden cave.
Oh
where-
man, you gotta drop it in the
Yeah.
comments.
Yep. But if we touch
I don't have-
anything, everything's gonna collapse.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Story of my life.
Yeah.
That's how I feel I'm aging. If you touch it, it's gonna collapse
Okay,
right
that's
now.
a little concern. You should moisturize. No, you actually don't need to moisturize. Your skin is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I always, for some reason, just because of who I am, maybe narcissistic, I always book people who give me a compliment within the first minute of the show.
Yeah.
If people go back and check.
I actually assume that was the only reason that I got booked for this is because you knew that I was going to flatter you in the first minute.
I
And
hope.
just kind of like bop the confidence up.
That's what I was hoping. This is what I live off of. I'm going to be in the back of my mind thinking about that Aladdin thing the entire time. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How
The
real?
higher
how-
your voice goes, the less I'm
Yeah.
going to believe.
Oh my god. Okay, wait. How real are we allowed to be
You
on
can
this
be as
podcast?
real as
Can
you
we-
want, baby girl.
So, okay. I'm doing okay.
Okay.
But this week has been kind of
Yes.
hard because I haven't told you this.
Yeah.
My grandma passed away a
Oh
couple
my
of days ago.
God. I'm so
on Tuesday.
sorry.
So it's just been like I was running on fumes for the
Yeah.
last 2 days.
Yeah.
and
But still out working, doing shows.
Still out working, doing
Yeah.
shows. Just like I did a show last night with Alice Chan,
Mhm.
actually in
The
Portland.
best.
Fantastic, and she was wonderful. I love working with her. I've worked
Yeah.
with her before, but did the show, and I was so glad that I had like a 20-minute set that I've already locked in, so that I
Yeah.
didn't have to like think of anything or innovate
Yes.
anything. I was just like, this is a good 20 minutes. I know it. It works in most rooms, so I just kind of locked into that, hopped in the driver's seat, did that,
Yeah.
then went back to the green room and like,
Yeah.
for an hour.
Wow. Good for you. Did you feel like having those things help you? Like if you're feeling like funky, does it help you bring you out, or is it more draining?
It does. It's one of those things where like, and I've talked to a lot of other comedians about this, but it's kind of wild how like you can be the sickest you've ever been in your life,
Yeah.
but if you have a show that you're like committed to doing,
Yeah.
and obviously don't want to get anyone sick.
I mean, I have COVID right now, but
Yeah, no, I do
couldn't
too.
pass up on
Which
the
strand do
studio
you have?
time. I don't know.
Okay,
A thick strand.
I think I have gamma.
A
at this
three
point.
corded strand.
Wow,
3 cords never broken.
that's a good strand. I hear
Yeah.
that's the one that actually gives you super taste buds.
Yeah. I've
Um,
been tasting a lot, let me tell you.
But
Anyway.
like it's kind of wild how like even if you're super sick, like
Yeah.
and I've talked to other comedians about this, even if you're super sick, you're like coughing, you're dying on the way
Yeah.
to the show, you get up on stage, adrenaline kicks in, like the energy
Yeah.
kicks in, you do your set, it feels like you're not sick at all for however long you're doing your set for. And you step off and you're like, cool, I'm going to go down some NyQuil and like sleep for 13
and then
hours.
you're like, like the adrenaline crash after that when you don't feel. That was actually me last night. I wasn't sick, but I had really bad allergies. Hello, pollen. And I was like just so itchy, just like kind of miserable from all the pollen. And then I was like, should I cancel? And then I was like, I don't want to cancel. And then the show was amazing. And then afterwards I was like, tissues in hand.
I actually remember, and maybe this is like a good segue into how you and I met, but like I feel like we knew about each other for a while, and then like we occasionally ran into each other, but it wasn't until we did Sick together a couple of years ago. That
which
I felt
was
like
sick.
It was so sick and exhausting. When we like really got to know each other, and I just remember like we did prelims together. It was like 4 or 5 nights, and then by the 4th or 5th night, you were killing it, right? You were placed in top 5 every night. And it was so good to get to like know you. You were crushing it. And then the 4th or 5th night, it was the last prelim night. I was like, hey, Jackie, how you doing? And then like you just looked up and you were like, what city are we in right now? And I was like, wait, do you really not know? And you were like, were we in North Bend last night? I don't remember. And you were like drinking a Red Bull.
Yes. Always. That I remember that night so well. And it was like it was like in the backstage of somewhere.
It was the backstage. It was oh gosh, it was the island, Whidbey Island.
Whidbey Island. Whidbey Island. I think is that the only place I did place first? One of the maybe that was Mainbridge.
But I remember you were like so out of it, and then you went on stage, crushed. I think you placed top 3 that night. And then walked off stage and you were like,
keep going.
Where am I? I don't know.
Disoriented. The show must go on.
Yeah. Anyway, so my grandma died.
Yes. We're going to give a pause. And well, thank you for coming to do the show.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate it. And I did enjoy getting to know you. Sick, for those who don't know, Seattle International Comedy Competition, grueling. And I feel like when I'm like I'm a very on person, but then when I have like 2 separate parts of me, some would call it a personality disorder. No, just kidding. But when I'm not on, I am like brain fog. I'm like, is anybody home? Hello, housekeeping. So that was probably where it was at.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I literally did the show last night. Had a good set, got in my car, and then I hyperventilated on the way home because I was like, oh my God, I'm running on like negative energy right now.
It's crazy how much I've been trying to drink more water. I got an app that I'm real excited about.
So good. Wait, you have an app for hydration?
Yes, you got to fill the llama.
I'm sorry, is this like a visual llama that like if you don't give it enough water every day, it just starts to die?
I wish, because that would really get my butt in gear. It's just like a piñata llama. You got to fill it. And this is what I have to do to stay healthy, is literally trick myself. But yeah, I'm realizing I got to drink water. I got to sleep. Not great at that. Not great at that.
I remember hearing a study a while ago that the #1 factor in people's health long term is sleep. Wow. Like, it's not exercise, it's not hydration.
It's not looking good for me, Juno.
You gotta sleep more. But your skin looks so good.
Oh, thanks.
Your skin looks amazing.
Thanks. Smoke and mirrors. We got a good filter here, but no, yeah. So we got to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you also, speaking of health, speaking of people losing it, have you been keeping up with JFK lately? All of the crazy JFK. No, RFK. It's a little late to keep up with JFK.
I hear that JFK is not doing very well health-wise.
Speaking of sleeping,
body is rotten.
RFK Jr. We know there's a J in there somewhere. All of his things about autism, all of the things he's coming out with, insane.
It's kind of wild. Like not to abstract away from RFK specifically, but there's just so much insanity coming out of the federal government right now that it's hard to like. It's like an all-you-can-shit buffet, right? Where like there's just so many things happening in the restaurant that you're not even sure where to start with.
Right. It's like, do I start with the soft serve ice cream? I would say that's RFK. Do I start with the shrimp that doesn't look fully cooked, Elon?
Yeah. I'm just like, do I go with the homophobia, the transphobia, the racism, the misogyny, the ableism? Do I go with the soft serve ice cream?
It is all you can eat.
It
is a buffet. I know.
Welcome to Trump's, the all you can oppress buffet.
It's so true. The eating's good.
The eating's good. If you're white and you're a man and you weigh over 300 pounds, guess what? You get in for free.
BYOP, though, bring your own plate because, Doge is taking those away. I'll tell you what. But RFK Jr. was talking this week about... like, he's like, autism, ADHD. He's talking about how, like, I never heard about these when I was a kid,
Wait, was he like, I didn't follow this. Was he just kind of like implying that all of these things are either fabricated or new diseases?
I think he is implying that they're new diseases because of, like, the foods that we eat or all of these different things, which may be some contributing factors, but also, like, it's funny because people are like, well, like, this disease wasn't heard of when basically he's saying, if I didn't hear of them when I was a kid, they're not real or they're new and there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that he didn't know about when he was a kid that are real that exist, like women's rights.
Right.
Or consent. I don't know. I feel like that's...
women's rights, it's from all of the genetically modified food, okay? That's where it's coming from.
It's true. Yeah, like we did not have women's rights until Twinkies really went into mass production, and then suddenly everyone was like, what's a good idea? Maybe we should give women the right to vote.
They start getting those ideas. A little sprinkle of red food dye. They're
exactly.
Like, women should be able to talk in public.
Do you know what's stuffed into a Twinkie? Is sugar, high fructose corn syrup, DH3, and women's suffrage. Just a little sprinkle of equality.
That's why it goes down so easy.
Well, that's why women like Twinkies better than men.
That's true.
I don't know.
They like ding dongs more.
Oh my god.
But
that was my. No,
yeah.
RFK Jr. is wild. Like, it's weird. I sometimes find myself agreeing with him when it comes to, like, we have too much processed food in the U.S. Where I'm like, I agree with that.
Right.
But then he starts to go wild. It's like a roller coaster where I'm like, we agree that, like, the quality of ingredients in American food, not great.
Right.
Awful, right? I think he said something like Doritos in the U.S. have 24 ingredients, whereas in Europe they have 3 ingredients or something like that.
That's wild.
Because we just have so many chemicals and processed things. But at the same time, then he's like, yeah, and then autistic people will never have jobs. They'll never read. They'll never live on their own. And I'm just like, that's not true at all.
I think he is a closeted autistic
You
person.
think so?
I think so. I think that's
he
why
just-
he's
he has
pushing
a lot
so
of
hard against it.
internalized like ableism.
Yes, I think so.
Oh.
He's like, I cannot let people know. And you know what? Come out of that closet.
Yes, I'm all for.
Am I
people coming
right?
out of that closet. Is it also wild that he's like from the Kennedy family and like the most alt-righty person in the administration?
So wild. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It was the Marilyn Monroe and I don't know, conspiracies.
Hasn't his entire family disavowed him? Like, hasn't the entire Kennedy family been like, listen, he's our cousin. He's not the brightest cousin
Can
in
you
the
imagine?
family.
You're like, ooh, out of all the cousins, this? Okay, first of all, I do have to backtrack though. Doritos. It's like, I get it. Take the dye out of my kids' food, take it out of the candy. They don't need it, right? But if you mess with my Coolers Ranch Doritos,
Don't
a
fuck with
pool day will never be the same. Like, I will lose it if you mess with my Coolers Ranch.
What do you think about like Dorito tacos at Taco Bell?
I haven't had it. I should.
I've had it once. Thought it was a gimmick.
Yeah.
Thought it was a gimmick. It was like when they put bacon and orange chicken at Panda Express.
Yeah.
But everyone loves them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about losing it. Go to Taco Bell. You will lose it. You'll lose about 30 pounds of it.
Listen, I'm a real maverick, okay? That's only soft tacos for Juno Men at Taco Bell.
All right. Okay. I see you. I do like some white bread. Okay. Some really slutty lunch meat right in there.
What's a good slutty lunch meat to you?
Ooh, like an Oscar Mayer's like chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah.
You think chicken is a slutty lunch meat?
But it's not. But it's like it's not real chicken. like nobody thinks this tastes like chicken. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if I've had the chicken. Is it like the canned chicken or like the slices
It's
of
the
chicken?
sliced.
I didn't know they did slices of
Yeah,
chicken.
I mean, it's not good. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
It's not a good thing they do that. It is straight from the bowels of hell. But you get that, you get a little mayo on there, and put the Coolers Doritos in there. Smash it together. You're wet because you've been swimming all day. Best day of my life.
I feel, is this a family-friendly podcast? Can we get a little graphic here?
Please get graphic.
Okay, I feel like, one, you and I just got closer as colleagues and as friends because I, too, love putting chips in my sandwich. Like the textural element, the flavor element, it's seasoning. It's seasoning on texture, right? You put that in your sandwich. A little bit of mayonnaise. I like a good turkey.
You get that
or
crunch.
You get the crunch, right? And then, like, you sprinkle some chips in, but then you also put some whole pieces of chips so you have variety. Right? And you come out of the water, you're wet, you dry off, you eat the sandwich, and it's so good that you're wet again.
Oh my God. In more ways than one. Hello.
Uh-huh.
And if RFK takes that away from women, we will revolt.
Yes. We are. Ugh.
I love that. And we've connected on a deeper level.
On a very deep level.
So tell me, I want to hear from you a story about a time that you lost it.
Okay. I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of like the best example I could think of when I lost it. Maybe I lost something literally, maybe I lost it emotionally.
Yeah.
And here's when I lost it.
Okay.
I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It was March 1st, my birthday.
Oh my God.
This was the first birthday I had graduated from high school. All of my high school friends, everyone that I was close with, they had all gone off to college. They had left. I was still living in my hometown. I was going to community college. And I just thought, okay, well, you know, I haven't planned anything for my birthday, but I'll go to dinner with my family.
Yeah.
And
Classic.
that'll be the birthday. Right? That'll be the birthday. My mom woke up that morning, and my family, my mom and my dad, they owned a small restaurant, and they had been trying to lease it out to someone because my mom just hated running the restaurant, right? My dad hated the running.
What kind of
restaurant?
restaurant?
It was
a buffet.
No, it was and I'm not joking, it was a Mexican burger, donut, bagel shop.
Oh my! What?
It keeps
all going.
My parents had bought what was basically a Mexican diner in Santa Ana, Southern California, but they had both been selling donuts for most of their lives.
Okay.
And then they had sold bagels for the last couple of years, and they were like, you know what would be a great business idea is if we bought the Mexican restaurant, continued serving all of their food, and then we had a sweetener. We'll throw in bagels and donuts. No one's going to be able to resist. Turns out, everyone was able to resist. This was in the recession. This was in 2008, 2009.
No.
And they had signed a very long lease.
Oh no.
So my parents had tried to lease the restaurant out, and they had woken up that morning and found out that the people they had leased the restaurant to ransacked the restaurant, stole everything, just trashed the place. As far as I can remember.
Yeah.
And so my mom,
they walked in there. They were like,
"Yeah,
we thought there would only be one kind of food in here. There's too many." Blah!
And they lost it, and then they just stole a bunch of pans and knives.
They looted. That's terrible.
Yeah, it was awful. But I was 19. I didn't appreciate how awful that was. I was so stuck in my own emotions.
Right.
And I was like, all my friends are gone. It's my birthday. I'm supposed to feel
on your
special
birthday.
today. On my birthday, 19th birthday. So my mom panicked, ran to the restaurant. My dad went there too. And then I was like, are we still doing dinner tonight? And no one told me anything.
Yeah.
And so, I was just like, man, I'm feeling very emo and sad today. And so I literally spent the day trying to find someone to spend time with me.
Oh my goodness.
And this was like when Facebook was still early on enough, and I didn't have everything uploaded. And so I didn't even have my birthday on Facebook, so no one knew it was my birthday.
Oh,
so except for like a few close family members and a few friends, I got like maybe 3 birthday texts that day. And I was just feeling so sad and so desperate. And I was like, it's my birthday. I'm supposed to go do something special. I'm supposed to go hang out with someone. And so I literally bopped from like friend to friend, just trying to find someone to
Yeah.
spend time with me. I went and like played video games at a friend's house, but they were playing a video game that I didn't know, and I was like, "Do you guys
Yeah.
gonna go out?" And they were like, "We don't have any money," and I was like, "Okay, that's totally fine."
You're like, I'll buy you my birthday dinner.
But I didn't have money either. I didn't have any
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
And so I just got like progressively sadder and more emo and more like it's my birthday and no one's spending time with me and like I didn't appreciate that, like, you know, there was an economic downfall happening in my
Right.
parents' lives,
Yeah.
and I was just like so sad, and I was just slowly unwinding
Yeah.
throughout the day.
The
And
slow spiral,
slow,
which is actually how
slow
they make
spiral.
that chicken,
Which
Oscar Mayer chicken.
Oh,
It's
is
the slow
it?
spiral.
Is
so,
it okay?
mm,
Yeah, that makes actually the way they make the chicken I've heard, and this is on Reddit, so I
yeah.
don't know how valid it is, but I heard that the way they make the chicken is whoever is responsible for, like, you know, running the machine that
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
They make them come in on their birthday, and they make sure that no one wishes them a happy birthday that day. So they come in with the same
Oh.
feeling of a slow
That's why it
unspiraling.
tastes so sad.
Yeah,
It tastes
exactly.
sad.
But it tastes sad, but in a satisfying way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in a I could eat this if I'm 19 years old
Right.
way.
The tears of
Exactly.
a 19-year-old. Delicious.
100%.
Nutritious.
Yeah.
So you're
Um,
spiraling.
so I'm
like a honey
spiraling.
baked ham.
I'm spiraling like a honey baked ham. I'm spiraling like chicken guts mixed in together and then pushed out of a
crunching
little
some
piping and
bones
sliced
in
up into
there.
chicken slices.
Oh,
Oh, the cartilage.
spiral.
And so, like, desperately running around town trying to find someone to spend the day with. No one's spending time with me. Eventually, my dad calls, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's gonna spend the day
Oh
with
my
me,
God, this
right?
like a movie.
And then he's like, hey, there's sewage at the restaurant. Can you grab the vacuum from home and bring it here? Because he had one of those like industrial vacuums. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so now I gotta
Shop
go
vac.
work on my birthday.
Yeah.
So I grabbed it, went to the restaurant. Worst mood ever, right?
Yeah.
Worst mood ever. And then my dad, very sweet, not a very emotional guy.
Yeah.
Bring the vacuum, very huffy about it.
Yeah.
He pulls me aside and he goes, hey, happy birthday. And he gives me $100.
Oh.
Sweetest thing. One of the sweetest things my dad's ever done.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So that's like the one glimmer.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. If no one's going to spend my birthday with me, I'm going to go and do birthday things on my own.
Oh my God, I'm scared. What'd you do?
Okay. This is supposed to be me losing it, but I feel like this is also going to be a very sad Juno movie.
That's
like
okay.
moment.
That's okay. We love it. We're here for it.
So I grew up in Garden Grove, California, which is
Okay.
part of Orange County, California, which is
Uh-huh.
in Southern California,
Okay.
and
Which is in
the United States of
Okay.
America,
Okay.
which is part of North America.
Part of my podcast is learning geography.
I figured. I did get
so-
that in the pre-podcast email. and
Yeah,
so
all the
I-
maps I sent you.
This is actually not part of the story. I'm just dropping it in to meet this requirement so
Yes.
that I can still be on the episode. But at the time,
Yeah.
Disneyland had a policy that if it was your birthday, you could get in for free.
Oh my God, this is so sad, Juno.
So I was like, if no one's gonna spend the day with me, I'm just gonna take myself to Disneyland. And
I'm gonna spend it with Mickey Mouse.
Yes. So I drove to Disneyland
Yeah.
at like 9 p.m.
Oh my God.
right? And I park. And I didn't have the money to pay for parking, so I parked away, and then I had to walk like 20 minutes to
Yeah.
get to the Disneyland entrance. And then I gave him my ID, and I went in, and I actually saw this girl that I went to high school with who was like running one of the rides, and then we talked for a minute, and I was like, I should ask her out, and then I didn't. And then I went on one ride.
Yeah.
I think it was a Star Wars ride, and I went,
Okay.
yeah. That's right. I had a good birthday. And then I left Disney.
You're like on the Star Wars ride. You're like crying. You're like, yay!
That was basically me. And I was just like inside, I was trying to convince myself this is okay. This is
Oh
fine.
my God.
This is a good way to spend your birthday.
And then you're walking back to your car and like in the like ethereal, it's like, so you had a birthday.
Yeah, well, and then I got back to my car and someone had popped the tires.
No.
No, I'm joking.
Oh
No
my
one-
God.
No one did that.
Oh my word.
But literally, like I went to Disneyland, by myself on my 19th birthday. And I was like, this is fine. I'm having a good day. This is a good way to spend your birthday.
I want to see the pictures that come out. You know the pictures that they take? I want to see the picture. You're like sitting there. There's like tears and you have like a flag and like a birthday hat.
No, with like the Mickey Mouse birthday hat.
Oh my God.
Not even the end of the day.
The tires aren't popped.
The tires aren't popped. I get back to my car. I'm like, okay, I did my ride at Disneyland. And now I'm going to go see a movie. So I went to the Dollar Theater, which was at Main Place Mall, which is like a mall. And then they have the theater at the top.
Yeah.
And it was like a theater that charged, I think at the time, like $2 or $3 to show movies that had been out for 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Right. So I saw movies well after they had been released.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? I'm having such a good birthday right now. I can do whatever I want. It's my birthday. No one can touch me. I felt invincible.
Yeah.
Right? Really, I was just traumatizing myself. I was just like breaking on the inside. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to go see a movie. And the movie I saw was Tom Cruise's Valkyrie, which was a movie about a plot to kill Hitler. In World War II Germany.
Oh, very birthday.
Yes, very birthday, starring Tom Cruise, who in the movie did not speak with a German accent nor a British accent, spoke with an American accent.
Oh my God.
Tom Wilkinson, who did speak with a British accent, and a variety of other actors that were pretty well known, who all spoke with no effort to make an accent. So it was
not a good movie.
It was
is what I'm hearing.
A wonderful movie.
Was it?
I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
Okay. All right.
But
That's funny that he didn't speak with an accent. And everybody's like, we're fine. I mean, it's Tom Cruise.
They do this weird thing where at the beginning, it's like someone speaking in a German accent, and then they voice over slowly to his voice. So it's kind of like cinematically, you're supposed to believe that they're all speaking in German.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
There wasn't a dialect coach available.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that if like a dialect coach worked with Tom Cruise, he'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't think Tom Cruise has ever spoken with an accent in any
would
movie.
be like, repeat after me. And they'd say like, ich bin lieb. And he's like, this is mission impossible. And then he's like, he goes on the roof.
Would he actually make that sound effect
himself? Yeah, this is just his hand. He's not even that's
him retreating from the dialect coach.
Right.
It's just like
like lasers come in.
I actually heard that he killed his last 4 dialect coaches, which is why he doesn't work with dialect.
It's a hard job. Somebody's got to do it. Wow.
Last thing about this birthday.
Yes. So there's more.
So at the time, I wasn't out as trans.
Yeah.
And I was so bad at dating.
Yeah.
And I was like, but again, I was feeling invincible.
Right.
So
you've hit up all of your Facebook friends, acquaintances.
All 7 of them at the time, and none of them were available. And then when I was at the movie theater buying my concessions, there was a very obviously gay woman.
Yeah.
And I was not out as trans yet, so I was presenting as male. And I, presenting as male, asked out a lesbian. And she said, oh, no, thank you, I'm a lesbian. And I went, I still counted it as
You're
a
like,
win.
but it's my birthday!
It's my birthday! I still counted it as a win, though, because I was like, I've never asked anyone out, and I finally did it. And so that's like step 1.
That was your first time asking somebody out on your birthday?
I dated people before that, but I'd never asked anyone out.
But they asked you out.
They asked me out, or actually, this is how I got together with my like kind of high school, my big high school girlfriend. Is we just hung out one day and then we kissed.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's
never
sweet.
asked either of those.
So, what did you use the $100 for? Do you remember?
I actually good question.
Thank you. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm here for.
Welcome to Sad Hour with Juno Men. So my dad passed away a couple of years later.
Okay.
But I used the $100 before he passed away to buy a black suit that I used for speech and debate tournaments when I was doing competitive public speaking in college.
Okay, go off.
And then I wore that suit. It was a shitty suit. It was a $100 suit. It was a terrible suit. Last time I wore it was his funeral.
Oh.
And it's one of the only things I've kept in my wardrobe since coming out.
Oh, that's special. That's special.
So, yeah, that's what I used the $100 for.
That's sweet.
A really bad black suit that probably wouldn't fit me today.
That's in your closet. I love it. Wow, that is like that birthday story is insane. And then that was that.
Yeah. Well, and then the next year, I was like so intent on not having the same sad birthday that I specifically made no plans with anyone. And then
Right. You can't be disappointed if you don't have
exactly.
your hopes up.
Let that be a lesson to all of you. You can't be disappointed if you don't have expectations.
So just
all
stop
right?
trying.
No one can come under the bar if there is no bar to begin with.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next birthday, literally, I was like, I'm just not gonna be disappointed. I'm not gonna make any plans. So I went and saw a movie by myself. It was Precious, based on the novel Pushed by Sapphire. Looked at my phone the entire time, and then someone that was in the theater, very rightfully and justifiably, because I was annoyingly on my phone the entire movie, because that was the second time I'd saw that movie.
You saw Precious for the second time in the theater. That's amazing.
Someone walked by and said, "Don't look at your phone during the movie next time, motherfucker."
And you looked up, and it was the actress who played Precious.
It was Gabrielle Sidibe.
Yeah, and she was like,
I just did a terrible impersonation of her.
Wow, that's crazy. I feel like birthdays are there's so much like hype. I always try not to. I'm always saying, I don't care about my birthday. But then like as it gets closer, I'm like, no one's like.
Birthdays are fucking wild because as a kid, you're told like, oh, your birthday is a special day.
Yeah.
Right? And it's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing when you get to celebrate a child's birthday, when a child gets to celebrate their birthday.
Right.
But then you get older and you're like,
it's weird.
Am I supposed to make a big deal of this day?
Right.
And like you just don't know where your expectations are supposed to be.
Right. And this birthday, I was like, no one's like I had that in this weird thing in my head where I'm like, well, nobody's really like planning anything. And then I was like thinking back to everybody I know, and I'm like, oh, they plan something. Yeah. And then they invite people to it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Do you know what the biggest lie of every movie and sitcom is? Is that your friends all get together and secretly plan you a birthday party, and then you just show up somewhere, and suddenly there's this whole thing.
Surprise.
Like, they got things to do. They got jobs.
They're not thinking about you.
No.
I'm not thinking about them, if I'm going to be honest. I'm kidding. I love my friends. I actually do think about them a lot, but I'm not the planner in the relationship. Working on it.
Is that a thing that people do though? Like, do people actually plan birthday parties for other people as a surprise?
My friend group does.
In their 30s?
Yes.
Really?
30s and 40s. Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm the baby. Obviously, I'm in my early 20s, but but yeah,
wait, you're in your early 20s?
Yes.
Your skin looks terrible for being.
Yeah, I know. 20s. It's all the cigarettes I smoked as a child. But no, all of my friends plan birthdays and they'll do really special things. All my friends I don't know how I have these friends. They're all very sentimental. And I'm like,
that is amazing.
I will remember everyone's names and I will remember maybe something else. But it's all the food dyes, Juno.
So
the food dyes.
Have they ever planned a birthday for you?
No, but they did plan something very special for me. This birthday, my friends all planned secretly to dress up like me for like a birthday dinner.
Sweet.
And when I say that they were like seriously on the money, it was like one of my friends made a shirt that says "Laugh More" because I have a Laugh More sweatshirt. I wear it sometimes on stage, and I want it to be less live, laugh, love, and more like a demand, like laugh more.
You should have that like printed on a T-shirt, like you doing that face. Laugh more.
I'm angry about it. I'm angry about laughter. So yeah, my friends are very sweet and they're very thoughtful.
That's incredible.
They're very thoughtful.
Now I feel like I need better friends.
Hit them up on your next birthday on Facebook. Promise. They'll do.
Hit your friends up or my friends?
Both.
Your friends.
All of them.
Are you saying that your friends could be my friends?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Oh my God.
So, okay, I have a scenario for you.
Okay.
So you have been on NPR because you do some storytelling.
I do.
With the moth. Okay, so this is my scenario. I want to see how you would react if you'd lose it, what that would look like, okay?
Okay,
so,
I'm really excited.
So we're setting up. We're at the moth, okay? This is also a new segment I like to call, How Would You Lose It? I don't remember what I called it last time.
We're at the moth, though, and this is NPR. We have to be like, how would you lose it? Like,
so how would you lose it? You know, that's really interesting, Ted. But let's say this is a live moth show. Okay. And there are physical moths there. It's an old building.
Okay.
I'm there. I have a lot of moth holes in my clothes.
All right.
We're sticking on brand. So you're up, you're giving a story, you've spent time on this story, you've crafted it, and somebody stands up in the middle of your story and they go, wrong, you're wrong. And you're like, what? No, this is like a story about my life. And they're like, that's not true. And they start debating you on your story.
Live debate.
Well, I guess you have debate, but okay. So why don't you give me a piece of a story and then I'll be the heckler.
Okay, so you want me to like pretend to be telling a story?
Yeah, just a short little,
Okay. Yeah, so it was my 19th birthday, and I was just looking for something to do, and I didn't have any plans, so I ended up. It was feeling very sad. I took myself to Disneyland.
Wrong. You were not on Disneyland on that day. I know it.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't expect to get called out here. I was going to Knott's Berry Farm.
I knew it.
I was going to Knott's Berry Farm. Who are you? How do you know my life?
I'm Mr. Knotts.
What? You're Mr. Knotts?
I'm Don Knotts.
Don Knotts. May I tell you, sir, you run a tight ship at Knott's Berry Farm. I have never seen a berry farm quite as well run as yours.
Well,
yeah, it's militant
ma'am.
almost, and its execution and how the cast members are operating.
Yes.
Can I shake your hand?
Yes.
I'd love to shake your hand.
Yes. Wow. Juno, you took a very dastardly situation and you made a friend.
It's all about making friends.
Wow. I'm impressed.
You know
I
what
have
the great
to say.
thing is though about hosting the Moth is let's say I'm doing a storytelling event.
Yeah.
I shake your hand.
Yeah.
Right? We part as friends.
Yes.
And then I'm connected to the production team. I have you killed at the end of the show.
I didn't know the Moth were hip people.
They're not.
Oh. Quotes, in air quotes. We're doing air quotes for
the
listener.
They're not.
Oh, they're not. Berry Farm. And actually, people don't know this, but that is one of our sponsors today.
Yeah.
Knott's Berry Farms. Come for the ride. Stay because you threw up on yourself and you're embarrassed to come out of the bathroom.
Love the jam.
Love the jam. Oh my God. Is that connected? Is the jam connected to the theme park?
Oh, it is. Yeah. Did you not know that? Yeah.
Wow.
They actually, it's the same. I don't know if it's the exact same company, but they're all affiliated. Knott's Berry Farm Jam.
Okay. Now, I want to know this. Okay. What is the appeal of, let's talk about Nate Bargatze for a minute.
Okay.
So funny.
All right.
So good. Makes comedy look so easy. And I'm mad about it. Okay. And I'm going to get him canceled because I'm jealous.
I could probably get the Moth Hit Squad to pay him a visit.
Okay.
If you're interested.
All right. Okay. This is how we gain power.
I will say, I don't want to kill him before we get to see the next like SNL
so funny.
George Washington-esque sketch.
That's so true.
Those are some of my favorite recent SNL sketches.
It's so
and
funny.
They're just so good.
So funny. But this is my question. I read an interview recently that Nate Bargatze is interested in opening a theme park, Nateland.
Is this real?
Yes. What is the appeal of having a theme park? That sounds like a logistical nightmare to me.
I didn't think that he'd be going into the theme park world. Like I figured he'd like tried to host a talk show or start another podcast or like, film a couple of specials. I didn't think that like franchising theme parks would be in his like future business ventures. I didn't know that was a thing comedians could do. Is that a thing that we could do?
We could. I mean, the sky's the limit. No impossibility. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, wow. So you're telling me that I'm going to open up a theme park, first of all, and then what? I'm going to have some sad 19-year-old come on their birthday to like ride one ride and scare everybody away because they're crying?
It's free on their birthday.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I will say, sad 19-year-olds going there by themselves on their birthday feels very on brand for Nate Bargatze. Like, I feel like that would be the target demographic of that theme park.
That's true. That's a very good point. I'm concerned now about the demographic I see going there.
Could the name of the
sad 19-year-olds?
Could the name of the park be like Bargatze's Bargain Park?
Oh, yes. Bargain, House of Bargains.
Yeah, exactly. So like every coaster is just sort of like the roller coaster that like a local traveling fair had to get rid of because it didn't meet safety standards anymore.
Right.
And then he just kind of like fixed it up.
I like that. Everybody knows comedians don't have to make it safe if people are laughing.
Yeah. Nate Bargatze has a tight 5, but doesn't have a tight coaster.
the seatbelts.
It's very loose.
Very
Keeps it loose.
loosey-goosey.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
very
that.
improv.
Yeah.
Kind of like in its ethos.
I mean, I'm sold. I'm not going to run one, but I will go to one. I will go to Nateland.
Nateland's a really good name.
Thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. Was there anything that like I didn't cover or that like I let slip through the cracks? Or
You didn't. I was hoping for one more geography fact, but I think
Oh my
unless
God.
you have one on the tip of your tongue.
Did you know that Canada is north of the United States of America?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think that's true.
it's absolutely true.
I don't.
Pull up the map.
I mean, to be honest, it's all how you're looking at it.
Pull up
because
the map.
The way that I like to look at it, the way I was taught when I was raised by the good people of Auburn, okay, they told me that north was south. And I think we're actually looking up to Central America. And that's just my beliefs.
Okay,
That's
well,
just my...
It's your podcast, and I don't want to contradict you.
Yeah. So, no, that's not true. But I did go to Canada once, and I did feel higher. I did feel on top of the world.
Like morally superior?
All of the above.
Wow.
All of the above. Thank you for being on my podcast.
You're
amazing.
For having me.
And at the end of our podcast, and by our, I mean mine, I have the person look into the camera. So if you would, please, Juno, look into the camera and give advice to somebody who might be losing it right now.
Ooh. Do it. You got to vent sometimes. You got to let loose sometimes. Like, don't keep it all in. Let it all come out, and then go on a comedy podcast and tell a story about it.
That's great advice because I could use more guests. And you know what? Everybody loves spiral ham. So thank you for listening to my podcast.
Bye, everyone.
Mom.
Oh.